Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel, and today I probably have one of my most ambitious videos ever, as I've gotten a bunch of creators to give a bunch of time and effort into making their own little segments for this. So basically what this will be is, in chronological order, we'll all be talking about our favorite scene from Star Wars, or one of our favorite scenes, as there was a bit of overlap. But do me a favor and subscribe to everyone who helped contribute to this video. I put all their links down below to all their social medias I could find. And if I got one of the links wrong or the links isn't working, please find some way of contacting me. I'll also have my links down below. I wouldn't want someone to spend all the time and effort of making a segment for this video just for someone to not be able to find their channel or Instagram or something like that. But this is going to be a long one, so let's get right into it with the first person.
Hey Max, thanks so much for inviting me on your channel. My name is Trevor. I'm from the Film Geeks YouTube channel. Happy National Star Wars Day. My favorite Star Wars scene is the one and only Anakin vs. Obi-Wan epic final battle in Revenge of the Sith. And it's my favorite for many reasons. One of them being is that two best friends and brothers turn on each other and fight. And that's something that always resonated with me on an emotional level. I'm a sucker for a good brotherhood story, and when they turn on each other, they end up fighting like a younger and older brother normally do. You feel it. You feel the emotion, and this scene is full of those emotional lines, those emotional moments of two best friends now turn foe. Also, it's one of the best choreographed fight scenes I've ever seen in my life. From Obi-Wan and Anakin doing the lightsaber swirl, and they're throwing the Force at each other. Everything about it just screams epic, and it's something that when I watch, I get chills every single time. And when I get chills, it's from the fighting, but it's also from the epic score that's playing in the background. That score is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars scores. I listen to it while I drive. It gets me pumped up. It gets me emotional, and that's what this scene does, because you're kind of expecting it for how Anakin's been acting throughout the entire film, that he's going to turn on dark side when he gets announced that he's known as now Darth Vader. Now, as Darth Vader, he has to kill his old master Obi-Wan. That sets up for the emotion, but that sets up for the epicness. But just the lines that these actors deliver, from Obi-Wan saying, "I have the high ground," and Anakin with that ultimate line of, "You underestimate my power," jumps, and Obi-Wan ends up slicing this dude basically in half, legs and arm both gone. And that little monologue that Obi-Wan gives hits me in the heart, man. It hits all Star Wars fans in the heart. It hits movie fans or just fans of the genre in general. It hits you right in the emotions, because that line that Ewan McGregor delivers as Obi-Wan is so emotional. You were the chosen one, supposed to bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. That emotional line that it gives you just gives you chills, makes you want to cry. The Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, mostly because of this scene alone. This is a scene I go back and watch about 8 times a year. I watch it on YouTube, or I go toss on the movie and fast forward to the end just so I can see this epic moment that Anakin, who thought he was ready and thought he was right and that he got done dirty by the Jedi, turned out he wasn't ready, because he couldn't beat his master. He's still the Padawan in Anakin Skywalker, and whenever he got his arrogance or that little cockiness got in his way, Obi-Wan was there to humble him out. And that's something I always loved, that the older brother was always there to humble out the younger brother when a younger brother thought he can come and take over the older brother. This scene is that brotherhood story like I mentioned before. It hits me in the feels. I love a good brotherhood story. I love the emotion behind it. It's one of my all-time favorite scores. Anakin vs. Obi-Wan not only is the best duel scene, but one of the best Star Wars scenes ever. It's my personal favorite Star Wars scene of all time. It's my personal favorite fight scene of all time. It's my personal favorite score of all time. So many things from this scene are my personal favorite, and that's why it's my favorite Star Wars scene. Nothing else came to mind besides Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting each other. The whole movie was leading up to it, and it's how it ends. It's all sorts of emotional, and I cannot wait to see the Obi-Wan series, when we're going to see these two kind of come back towards each other. How that's going to happen, I'm not too sure. That scene right there is my 100% favorite Star Wars scene.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, folks. Yep, Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you, is right around the corner, and Star Wars is easily my favorite franchise of all time. But before I tell you my favorite scene from Star Wars, I want to give a big thank you to Max for having me on the channel. So without a doubt, my favorite scene from Star Wars has to be the binary sunset scene from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. This has always been the most personal Star Wars scene to me, and the one that I just rewatch and take the most out of. And the reason being is I find Luke Skywalker to be such a relatable character. He's this moisture farmer living on Tatooine with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and he's kind of on the verge of wanting to grow up. It's almost like he's coming of age throughout that first movie. He wants to go learn how to be a pilot, and he has to stay home one extra season to help out on the farm, and that's just not the lifestyle that he wants. So once the droids arrive, it's kind of like, okay, things are starting to go in motion for him to maybe see some change, but there's a scene at night, right when the sun's setting, where he walks out, and there's just beautiful, gorgeous shot, and you see the binary sunset, and Luke looks out into the two suns, and he sees them. And these suns have always represented the paths of Luke Skywalker, in my opinion. And he sees one, and one path is, I stay here forever, living on Tatooine, not fulfilling the dream, almost just settling, you know? I'm going to be this moisture farmer and live my life here and not do what I really want to do. And the other sun represents that path that he aspires for, the one that he longs for, where he goes out, he lives his dream of becoming a pilot. And that path ultimately is the one that he would end up taking without him even knowing, because he goes with Obi-Wan Kenobi to save Princess Leia and destroy the Death Star ultimately. But the thing that really makes this scene stand out is John Williams' immaculate score. This is without a doubt my favorite piece of music from the entire Star Wars saga, the way that it builds that emotion. Without John Williams' score, I don't think this scene would hit home as hard or be as powerful. This is easily the best scene in Star Wars in my opinion, and my favorite. And it's not even a scene involving lightsabers or action or any of that jazz that we all have come to know and love about Star Wars. It's really just a resonant message about a boy who wants more in life. And I've always found that to be the most resonant with me. It's like, you know, I want to go this certain route in life, no matter what someone might have set in my path for me. You just got to go with where your heart desires. And we all have to make tough decisions in life regarding what path we want to follow. And those twin suns have always represented that in my eyes. So anytime the binary sunset score, we hear it again in other pieces of music, it always gives me chills, especially in even Rebels or Clone Wars, no matter where it's used. Even a trailer. I love that piece of music so much. It's a chef's kiss, and this scene is just so beautiful to me. It gets me emotional and teary-eyed thinking about it every time. It makes me want to go rewatch it. Star Wars is my favorite movie of all time, and it's my favorite franchise undoubtedly, despite the ups and downs that it may have. Every time Star Wars Day rolls around, I got to rewatch that scene and definitely the movie, and it just makes me feel happy inside. Makes me really think about where I'm at in life, and I kind of reevaluate every year just based on this one scene of Luke Skywalker, the original hero, going on that hero's journey, looking out at the binary sunset, seeing the paths for his life. It's gorgeous. That's a quick summary of my favorite scene from all of Star Wars. Thank you, Max, for having me on. Anytime I get to talk about this scene or Star Wars in general, you know I'm down, so thank you so much for having me on. If you guys haven't seen Star Wars, go watch Star Wars. Come on. It's a classic, and the original trilogy all day. But thanks again, Max, for having me on, and I'll leave you with this. May the Force be with you. Always.
Hi everyone, I'm Sasha, and I'm filming this little clip for Max's May the 4th Star Wars extravaganza celebration in his video, and he's asked me to talk a little bit about one of my favorite Star Wars scenes, which I have chosen as the trash compactor scene from Star Wars A New Hope, Episode 4. And the reason I chose this scene is I remember vividly watching this movie with my dad as a kid. We were cuddled up in blankets, watching on our couch, and I feel like this scene has kind of carried with me, but I also think it defines what I love about Star Wars so much, so that's why I picked it. So off the bat, you see Luke, Leia, and Han escaping from the stormtroopers, who are, of course, missing them with every fire of their blasters, and Chewie trying to get them into this trash compactor, which Chewie smartly does not want to get into. But Han forces him to, and we get the great line, which I think leads to what I love so much about Leia and Han's relationship, which is their banter with one another. And Han has the line, "I'm not sure if I'm ready to kill her or if I'm beginning to like her," which of course he's beginning to like her because Princess Leia and Han Solo are star-crossed lovers who are just destined to be together. But I love the banter between all of them when they get in this compactor, and what I love so much about this scene specifically is the shift in emotions that take place. So when they're escaping the stormtroopers to get in the trash compactor, they're so excited to be safe, and then immediately when Luke starts to panic about being stuck in there, having no escape, and having the potential monster lurking under the surface of the water, there's a lot of tension. And then of course when they're saved at the end of the day, they are so excited again. And I think this course of highs and lows is just what we all love about Star Wars. It's the tense moments paired with the really deep interpersonal relationships between the characters that we all love so much. And I think this scene is so emblematic of what the rest of that is in all of Star Wars. I also really love that, well, maybe not love, maybe that's the wrong word, but this scene has stuck with me in more ways than one. So obviously I love it for all the reasons I said before, but I definitely think it's contributed to my claustrophobia and my fear of being in like a body of water where you can't see below you, because I know that feeling all too well of when you feel something brush against your leg like Luke and no one believes you and you just want to get out of there as fast as possible. And so this scene has clearly imbued me with a little bit of childhood trauma, but that's okay because I didn't actually have to go through it. But that's definitely stuck with me. The other thing I really love is the sort of B-plot that saves the day with C-3PO and R2-D2. It feels so right that they are, of course, targeted by a stormtrooper when tension is at the highest, when the trash compactor is actually starting to come together, and Luke, Leia, Han, and Chewie are all like feeling like they're about to die, and C-3PO comes in clutch and saves the day, diverting the stormtroopers, listening to R2-D2, getting the message from Luke, and saving the day. So overall, this scene is just so emblematic of everything I love about Star Wars, with the character relationships, the highs and lows, high tension, but the awesome, awesome dialogue between the characters. And yeah, thank you so much to Max for having me on for this day, and may the Force be with you.
So for my scene, I chose the scene where Yoda's training Luke on Dagobah in The Empire Strikes Back. The first thing I want to talk about with the scene is the production design. It's amazing to just look at everything that went into designing Yoda's character. You can just tell how much love and how much craft went into designing everything for this scene alone. The sound design, lighting, cinematography makes it feel like it's truly from a galaxy far, far away. The world building in this scene is also some of the best in the franchise, as this is all about Luke's journey. We hear Yoda talk about the journey of Jedi before him. Keep in mind this was 19 years before the prequels came out, and at the time the prequels were barely even thought of, and this sort of laid the groundwork for them. And then when Luke sees Vader in the cave, it lets us know more about Luke's perspective. We already knew that he had to take on Vader, but before we viewed him as a whiny kid who could be overconfident at times, but with this scene we really got to see the fear inside of him. But one of the most humbling things for Luke is how he sees his own face in his enemy's helmet. This is one of the most pivotal scenes in Luke's character arc. You can see him struggle, you see his failures, you see him not believing in himself. You've gotten to know this character over the last film and a half, and you're rooting for him at this point. Luke is faced with the challenge of choosing the easy path or the good path. This is one of the many lessons in this film that's applicable to life in general. At almost any scene in this film, it truly teaches you life lessons. Luke is still as stubborn and arrogant as always when it comes to learning the ways of the Force. Yoda shows the attributes of a good teacher. He's knowledgeable and patient. This dynamic works well because it's teaching the audience all the same lessons it's teaching Luke. When we as the audience see Yoda teaching Luke, we learn do or do not, there is no try, and all the other teachings from Yoda. To compare this to the sequel trilogy, Rey's told that she's been chosen by the Force by a couple different people, but we never get the satisfaction of watching her at her low point and then seeing the progress afterwards. We're not as compelled by Rey as we are by other characters, and that is due to the fact that we never get to see her struggle and then learn. Instead of her working and the help of the Force is working with her and she's just experiencing it. The scene takes its time. Luke's failure to lift the ship goes to show that he's still working on himself and he's still on his journey. Luke is interesting not because he's perfect or because he has everything, but the exact opposite. He still needs to learn, which is his character arc. And I don't even need to comment on the music in this film. It's timeless. I'm not going to play it so the Mouse House doesn't copyright me, but when that ship is finally lifted, it's one of the most satisfying scenes in cinema history of everything coming together. The sound design, the music design, the story, and all the lessons that you're being taught along the way. It's just one of the greatest scenes in movie history.
Hello guys, happy May 4th. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Star Wars day, and thank you so much for having me on to talk about my favorite Star Wars movie scene. And there's a lot of really great ones to choose from. I'm really happy with the one that I chose, and my favorite Star Wars movie scene is the I love you, I know scene. One of the most iconic scenes in all of Star Wars and just in movies, and it's one of the most famous scenes between Han Solo and Princess Leia, and rightfully so because I think it's just perfect. The reason I chose it is because this scene is the reason why I love Empire Strikes Back, which is my favorite Star Wars movie and also one of my favorite movies of all time, because in Empire Strikes Back the Empire does win, and they do successfully strike back, because in movies heroes are so used to winning and in this one they don't. And as you're watching this scene as an audience member, at least in my opinion, I'm like, oh, Han Solo's probably gonna be fine, until he's not, and the movie ends and they're still out looking for Han Solo because we don't know what happened to him. It's great character moments between Han and Leia, and this scene really just makes their character, because we get to actually see that they really love each other, and it also shows what our heroes have had to sacrifice in the Star Wars universe, making them have emotional weight to it. I also love the way Han Solo says to Chewie at the beginning that he has to take care of the princess because he doesn't even know if he's gonna get out of this, and again, that just adds more to the tension of the scene. And I love the way Leia says I love you. That's the first time that she said that, and Han Solo responds I know, which is so iconic and one of the best lines in cinema history. And Harrison Ford actually improvised that, because in the script I believe it said I love you too, but Harrison Ford felt that was not Han Solo at all, so he just improvised the I know on the spot, and I think it was perfect. I don't think this scene would have been as iconic as it is without Han Solo saying I know. I also really love the colors in this scene, the orange and the darkness. It's very ominous, and I think it fits the tone really well, especially because Darth Vader is in the scene. And I also love the dramatic smoke when he's going down. It's just so good. It's just such a well-made scene because it has everything. It has great character moments, and it makes this couple, Han and Leia, even better. And Harrison Ford, in my opinion, has really great acting in this scene because there is so much emotion in his eyes, and you can tell that he really loves Leia, especially when he's being pulled down and the camera pointed at him as he's looking at Leia and he doesn't know when he's gonna see her again. His eyes show so much emotion, and he doesn't have to say anything, but his face says it all, and I think that's really great on Harrison Ford's part. He really played this character well in this scene. And I also really love John Williams' score in the back playing during this. Han and Leia don't really have a score. I don't think they have their own like theme, but the one that plays here is really good, and it does play in other parts when Han and Leia are together. It kind of quickly ends and you hear Darth Vader's theme come in, which I think is perfect, having the blend of a softer romantic theme than Darth Vader's theme, which is the opposite of that. I also can't talk about this scene without talking about Chewie, because although he's not the main focus, you also can tell how much he cares about Han Solo. And I think this scene, I believe it's like 4 minutes long, is just a perfect exploration of these characters and the relationships that they have with each other, and I think it was brilliantly done in such a short amount of time, and that's why this scene is my favorite of all time.
Hello everyone, my name is Ewan. I run the channel Ewan Reviews, and Max Talks Movies asked me to join this, and thank you, Max. This is a lot of fun. We're talking about Star Wars today, which is one of my favorite franchises of all time, if not my favorite. And what is my favorite Star Wars scene? Ooh, there's so many to choose from, especially from that original trilogy, but even like all the movies, there's at least something from it. I mean, I could go with the throne room scene from Return of the Jedi, or Obi-Wan versus Vader in either Revenge of the Sith or A New Hope, or Yoda training Luke on Dagobah, but for me, it has to be that first duel between Luke and Vader on Empire, and God, it's just something else. That shot where they both ignite their lightsabers is one of the most iconic shots of all time for a reason. It's such a beautiful scene, and you feel the fear in Luke Skywalker there. Like, you see him kind of almost shake, and then he's like quickly going at Vader, but Vader is down, he's mellow, he's controlled, because he knows he's playing Luke in a very smart way. And I think it's such a fantastic scene, especially like the lighting and all the mist and stuff. It really adds to like the ambiance almost of it, and obviously that leads to one of the most iconic scenes of all time.
No, I am your father.
It's filmmaking at its absolute finest. I love the original trilogy of Star Wars. I love Star Wars overall, even like the sequel trilogy, I love it. But if I could only choose one scene, it would have to be that first duel. Sure, I really do love the throne room scene. I almost picked that one, but this one reigns superior. I really love just the blue and red, the two best lightsaber colors. I know that's basic, but thank you, Max, again for having me on the channel. Everyone watching this, go subscribe to him. Thanks.
Hey guys, happy May the 4th. Thank you to Max for letting me be a part of this collab. And Ford, I wanted to talk about what's not only my favorite moment in Star Wars, but probably one of the most iconic moments of all time in movie history. And that is, of course, the reveal that Luke Skywalker is Darth Darth Vader's son, we know I am your father moment. Reason being because it is, number one, apart from what it does for the film, it is so incredibly iconic. It is burned into our minds. When you were growing up and you hadn't seen these movies, you still knew about the twist. Everybody talked about it. It is sort of a phenomenon. You know, kids, parents still show it to their kids to this day to see their reactions. It's crazy how much it's been referenced in just media in general. It is a crazy, crazy iconic moment, and for good reason, because what it does for the film is just so great. It's structured so well. The dramatic build up to it all is all paid off really well. Obviously, it's a really big moment for both characters, and it leads into a very melancholic ending for the movie, I think. So it just all comes together, you know, even besides the line itself. You've got the iconic scream at the end. It is all around really, really epic. Has to be one of the best plot twists of all time, and it's easily my favorite moment in any Star Wars film.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy AJ, and first and foremost, I want to thank Max of Max Talks Movies for asking me to be a part of this video, where we just kind of sit down and talk about one of our favorite scenes of all Star Wars films. My selection is a little unorthodox because I know a lot of people, they weren't feeling the sequel trilogy. And I get that, and I give you guys that, because you guys have been waiting for so long to get this epic sequel trilogy, and you know, it was a little bit of a letdown. Now, me personally, I didn't get into Star Wars until the sequel trilogy came out. That's when I went back and binged all the, you know, original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and, you know, just kind of watching things here and there, and really became part of this fandom. So the Force Awakens was huge for me. We all know how The Rise of Skywalker went down. It was kind of a dumpster fire. To me, this scene that I've selected kind of sparked the beginning of an amazing concept. I'm talking about the scene at the end of the film after Kylo and Finn, they kind of battle it out. Finn is on the ground, sliced up the back, kind of hopeless. And, you know, we see Kylo Ren reach for the lightsaber. He's trying to use the Force to, you know, retrieve it. Then it lifts off the ground. And you think, okay, Kylo Ren, he's got the Force. He is taking this lightsaber. He is, you know, he's winning this battle, basically. But no. It goes right past him. And, you know, he goes, hey, you know, and then Rey catches the lightsaber. And seeing that in the theaters for the first time, I got chills down my spine. And, you know, they fight and, you know, cut down some trees, and I can show you the ways of the Force and all that. But this moment where, you know, Kylo thinks that he has won and Rey, you know, actually catches the lightsaber, it really shows a spark of a new hope, like a new hope, so to speak. Another reason why I love this scene is because we see Rey with the lightsaber, and she's just kind of swinging it around. She hasn't been trained. She doesn't know much about the fighting styles. I really enjoyed the fight. The scene was awesome, but my main focus, the moment that really meant the most, is when Rey catches the lightsaber. It really signifies a new hope, and I got chills down my spine watching it in the theaters. And The Force Awakens and this sequel trilogy does have a place in my heart, even though, you know, they didn't go the route that probably was best. But if it wasn't for these sequel trilogies, like I said, I wasn't into Star Wars before, but if it wasn't for these sequel trilogies, I don't know if I'd be into Star Wars as much as I am today, or even at all. So I kind of owe the sequel trilogies a lot, no matter how much people may hate them. Once again, thank you to Max Talks Movies for asking me to be a part of this video, and I'll catch you guys later.
Hey guys, my name is Josh from the channel After Credits. Thanks Max so much for having me on your channel. It's great to finally collab with you. Love your stuff. Definitely subscribe to him if you haven't, and subscribe to my channel if you want. I do similar things. So today I'm talking about my favorite scene from a Star Wars movie. Now this was kind of hard because obviously Star Wars, there are a lot of great movies and there are a lot of great scenes in the movies, and I was trying to think of something that maybe wasn't as obvious, that not everyone was going to immediately think of. So I thought of the scene where Kylo Ren kills Snoke from The Last Jedi. Now, The Last Jedi is one of the most divisive Star Wars movies, without a doubt. Some people hate it, some people love it. I did that the wrong way around. Anyway, definitely one that kind of splits Star Wars fans. But I like the scene where Kylo kills Snoke, and for a few reasons. I think it's really smart how Snoke is saying you will take the lightsaber and kill your true enemy, whatever. I know it's pretty maybe a basic line. But at this point, I was kind of getting into movies, and this seemed like a really smart line, the way he did it. And also the color palette for this scene, that whole scene with the crimson guards and everything is just amazing. The blue of the lightsaber, the red room, it all just looks really good. And it's showing, you know, the light side still in Kylo Ren. Some people might think, you know, it's a bit obvious, of course he's going to go to the light side. But I think it was still a nice way of showing it in this movie, even though he ends up, you know, still being a bad guy by the end of it. And maybe this isn't the best Star Wars scene. I'm not sure if it even is my favorite, but I just like to mention it because maybe it doesn't get as much recognition as it deserves, and it is definitely a great scene. Anyway, thank you for having me on your channel, and hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Hello, my name is David Lawler, and I'm known for 3 main things. 1, just existing. 2, making YouTube videos. And 3, defending The Last Jedi, and that is what I'll be doing today. A big thanks to Max for inviting me onto this May the 4th collab. And the scene that I will be discussing is the Failure is the Greatest Teacher scene from The Last Jedi. Something to know about me is that I'm a big themes guy. I love themes in movies and literature, especially when they can be woven into a character arc. And it's even better when the themes are tangible and applicable. And the theme of the movie being failure ties into Luke's character, and my opinion on Luke's character could be an entire video by itself. But to keep it simple, I love Luke in The Last Jedi. He is an older, beat-to-my-reality Luke Skywalker who has to be brought down to be catapulted forward to save the rebellion and inspire generations to come. But this scene right here occurs at his breaking point. The beautiful quote of,
"We are what they grow beyond. That is the true burden of all masters."
is such a brilliant line that succinctly sums up what it means to be a role model or leader of any kind. But what this scene represents is the importance of failure and how we evolve and learn from that. Failure sucks in pretty much any form, but it's necessary. But more than anything, this moment encapsulates what Star Wars is truly all about. Wonderful stories with larger-than-life characters and events, but at its core, real messages about love, family, friendships, the need to stand up to evil, and even personal struggles such as failure. And that's why I picked this scene, not only because of course I love this scene and this movie, but also because even if you don't like The Last Jedi, I really hope that you can still appreciate moments like this, because that's what Star Wars is all about. Once again, big thanks to Max for having me a part of this collab, and if you want to check out my channel, it is simply David Lawler. Happy Star Wars Day, and may the Force be with you.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to my portion of the video. My name is Jack. I'm the host of FinaticFilms. I first wanted to start off by thanking Max for inviting me on for this project. I'm very excited to talk about some Star Wars today. And my scene that I picked is in Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Yes, I know, not the most popular film, but the scene is Han Solo showing up and talking to Kylo Ren. Now, I only have a few minutes to talk, so I'm going to get through this pretty quickly, but I love this scene for a few reasons. One, we get Han back. He's one of the fan-favorite characters. It is a little fan-servicey, but it does pack a nice emotional punch because I loved Kylo's redemption arc. I know a lot of people didn't. I know that was very highly divisive, but for me, I loved that character arc for Kylo Ren. So having that moment be the stepping off moment where he goes back from the dark side to the light side was absolutely perfect. When you really get down to the nuts and bolts of who Kylo Ren is, he's a scared kid who feels like he's been betrayed by everyone he loves. He's got really bad kind of father figures in Snoke and Palpatine, and he's just a kid that is scared. He doesn't know what the right way is. He feels like he's been double-crossed. He feels like he's been abandoned by the people he loves. And bringing Han back to have this very heartfelt conversation with him is the thing that he needed to get pushed back into the light. And I love that. It's a great opportunity for Kylo to go into his mind and get some peace with the decision he made in Episode 7 to kill his father, Han Solo. I love the callbacks. I love everything about this scene. It's just, it's fantastically acted. I think it's written really, really well. So y'all can talk as much crap as you want about this film, but I think this scene, even if it's the one scene in this film that's really good, which I tend to not agree with, I actually kind of enjoy the film. It's the one that is the most important, and it's the one that matters because it hits that emotional punch. It's acted very well. It's written very well. And in the end, we get to see a scared kid get some peace and comfort for just one moment. And then we get to see him redeem himself from all of the bad that he's done and get back to the light side. That's got to be the scene I pick. Because I know everyone's going to pick all the other scenes. They're absolutely fantastic. I wanted to think a little bit outside of the box and pick this scene because it's one that I go back to a lot. And it really does hit me emotionally because I can see the kid in Kylo. The kid that feels betrayed. The kid that feels like he's on his own. The scared kid that doesn't have anyone to love him, to cherish him, to give him comfort. He's on his own. He really is. And this moment, he realizes that he's really not. And then he turns back to the light. That's my scene, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming over and watching Max's video in general. I think this is such a great idea, such a creative idea. I love all of the other creators in this video. Thank you again, Max, for giving me the opportunity to sit in and talk about one of my favorite Star Wars scenes. So, we'll see you guys later.